Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. Jai Sachinandana, oh Jai Sachinandana. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango. Nitai Gaurango, Gaura Hare. Nitai Gaurango, Gaura Hare. Oh Nitai Gaurango, Gaura Hare. Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo. Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 17, titled Pastimes of the Lord in His Youth, text numbered 11. Please repeat. Prabhuda Vishekatave Karila Srivasa. Prabhuda Vishekatave Karila Srivasa. Katevasi Prabhu Koila Aishwarya Prakasha. Katevasi Prabhu Kaila Aishwarya Prakasha. Prabhuda Vishekatave Karila Srivasa. Katevasi Prabhu Kaila Aishwarya Prakasha. Devotees. Prabhuda Vishekatave. Prabhuda Vishekatave Karila Srivasa. Kateva. Matais, Vaishnavis. Prabhuda Vishekatave Karila Srivasa. Kadevasi Prabhu Kaila Aishwarya Prakasha. Anyone else? Prabhuda Vishekatave Karila Srivasa. Yeah. I know. I saw it online. So we had to be careful. Okay. Please repeat. Prabhuda of the Lord. Abhisheka. Worship. Tabe. After that. Korila. Did. Srivasa. of the name Shrivasa. Kate on the cot. Vasi sitting. Prabhu, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kaila did Aishwarya, opulence. Prakasha, manifestation. Translation. Srivas Thakur then worshipped Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the process of Abhishek. Sitting on a cot, the Lord exhibited transcendental opulence. Please repeat. Srivas Thakur then worshipped Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the process of Abhishek. Sitting on a cot, the Lord exhibited transcendental opulence. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Abhishek is a special function for the installation of the deity. In this ceremony, the deity is bathed with milk and water, and then worshipped and given a change of dress. This Abhishek function was especially observed at the house of Srivas. All the devotees, according to their means, worshiped the Lord with all kinds of paraphernalia. And the Lord gave benedictions to each devotee according to his desire. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanangana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschatyadeshatarine Panchakalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavivyo Namo Namaha. So, this chapter, it's quite a long chapter, one of those chapters that the Acharyas explain are like a summary. This is a whole summary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And it's almost half of the Bhagavad Gita, just the whole chapter. 300 something verses. You got how many? 36. So almost half the Bhagavad Gita in this chapter. This is just to summarize Lord Chaitanya's pastime in his youth. So in this particular instance, we find that Srivas, he was worshipping Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was doing Abhishek. So every morning the deities here, they receive Abhishek, all of them, and they are bathed with different ingredients: water, milk, sandal, tulsi, mantras, etc. So at this point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being, how can we say, accepted as the Supreme Person. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's a very unique incarnation of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said he's not an incarnation, he's Krishna himself. So, but sometimes it is presented as an incarnation. And the purpose of Lord Chaitanya is to make it easy or easier for all of us to engage in Krishna service. He made it so easy because in this day and age, spiritual life is perhaps the most difficult thing. I remember one Swami told me that, he said, you know what's the easiest thing in this world? I assumed that something was coming from his mouth. I said, no, Maharaj. And he said, to be in Maya. That's the easiest thing. To be in Maya. You have to do nothing. All I need to do is just sit still, and somebody will come, or some thought. Nowadays, with our mobile phones and YouTube and all these things, it's incredible how Maya it's working her way to get us. One time, Prabhupada was walking with some devotees, and some devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, if I become really humble, can that also be Maya? And then Prabhupada said, what? Just walking, and sometimes he didn't understand what devotees were saying, and sometimes some of the servants or secretaries will explain. And then the devotee repeated his question. Would becoming humble, and Prabhupada said, be Maya? Yes, Prabhupada. Getting in Maya, falling in Maya. And Prabhupada said, you're always in Maya. So sometimes we may think, I got first and second, and I know how to do this or that. I've been here or there. Always in Maya. Yeah. And the greatest Maya that the acharyas explain is to think that we are devotees. I'm a devotee now. I made it. I learned how to dress differently, or hairstyle and all that. But the acharyas in their songs, they explain the true mentality of a devotee. And a devotee thinks that he's not a devotee. Srila Prabhupada, in his famous prayers when he arrived to America, he says, Bhakti noi, Veda noi. I have no knowledge, I have no bhakti. However, I have strong faith. Namekud Bhoru. I have strong faith in your name. So that is the message of the acharyas, that we hear these things because these are eternal associates of the Supreme Person. And they are actually doing devotional service. We are practicing to do devotional service and engaged by our spiritual masters and Vaishnavas. Then, like a kid that mimics, sometimes Prabhupada says that just like a child plays with guns, right? And it's like a soldier or a policeman or a cowboy, right? Then he's playing like that, right? All the girls, I don't want to be socially conditioned, but I remember my daughter when she was little, and she will cook, and then she will make me eat stuff, plastic stuff, or whatever it is. And she will sit me and says, Dad, you have to eat this, puris and that, and drink. And then I'll, try to fake it. And then he says, and then she will say, but you have to, put some heart into it. You have to express like Haribol or something. Because that's what we will tell her, right? Dance and chant, and so she was like that, very motherly, feminine, like that. So we are trying, we are attempting. We may do pujas, we may chant, we may speak on shastra, so many things. But we shouldn't forget that we are here by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So this particular pastime, there are hundreds, I think, pastimes here. So many things that are summarized. Everything is condensed. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, we find two summaries, in chapter 2 and in chapter 18. So everything is there. All the Vedas are condensed there. Gita, Upanishad. So sometimes Krishna and the Vaishnavas, they summarize things, just like the Vedanta Sutra. All the Vedas, the Vedas are hundreds and thousands of, if not millions of verses. And then there are commentaries and added verses and chantings and rituals and so many things. It's impossible for the human in a lifetime to understand, to get to know all this. You may know one Veda and get a title, Ekavedi. You may know two Vedas, Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, like that. You may know so many things. Nowadays, people mostly get their names. I had a client the other day, and her surname was Chaturvedi. right? And then I ask her, do you know what Chaturvedi means? And she says, oh, I think it's a nice name that my mother or father thought of. She didn't even know. So the Vedas are so broad, and Srila Vyasadeva condensed them in the Vedanta Sutra. Sutra means short formulas or maxims or aphorisms, right? So he put it all the Vedas, put it in just very short statements. Aham Brahmasmi, I am a spirit soul, right? Atatto Brahma Jigyasa, now inquire spiritually. Not much explanations, like that. So simple, short things. But because it wasn't enough, it wasn't cleared enough, then what happened is, as we find in the beginning of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva, he knew what was coming. He knew what was happening with this age. All these sages, they knew something terrible is about to happen. Kali Yuga is starting. People are very short-lived. What else? Any other qualities of Kali Yuga? Poor memory. There we go. Poor memory. That's why we need all these, phones and microchips and hard drives and all that. I was here in a class, Ravinda Swarup Prabhu says that we think that we have that and how powerful is your computer? Oh, this quadruple, double, this, and hard drives and everything. And he says, that shows that your brain, it has no capacity practically. Because in the older days, right, you didn't need all these things. You will hear something and you will just remember it for lifetime, like that. So, many bad qualities. Kaler dosha nideh rajam. It was told to the king. Who told the king? Was that Narada Muni? Who tells that verse? Kaler dosha nideh rajam. Astihi akomaham guna. In this age, there is an ocean of faults. You see the ocean? So this is Kali Yuga. Ocean of faults. So many negative things. But there's one thing. What is that one thing? That in this age, simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, then we can achieve perfection. Simple as that. So, the Vedas are so vast, summarized in the Vedanta Sutra, but because it wasn't clear enough, because it wasn't easy enough, in order for you to understand Vedanta Sutra, you need to know Vedas, right? And then in order to know Vedas, you need to dedicate at least 100 years. So first you have to live 100 years. And nowadays, it's rare if somebody lives 100 years, right? And then you have to have the capacity to understand that. You have to be most probably born in a family of Brahmins and people from, Vedic background, and from early on learn mantras and tantras and yantras and all that. And, by the age of 12, you are almost self-realized because you know everything. How to eat, the directions, what to do, this, that. You're very wise. Huh? But in our case, think of where were you when you were 12? That's not too bad. But when were you for 15? Remember? But I don't remember. 16, 18, right? Party time. Okay? So that's why Lord Chaitanya comes, because he's so difficult. And that's why Narada Muni comes, and he tells Srila Vyasadeva, no, now you have to elaborate the Vedanta Sutra. You have to comment on the Vedanta Sutras in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the knowledge expands, and the knowledge is summarized, and the knowledge again is expanded according to the desire of the Lord and to the indication of the great acharyas and the devotees. So here we are in this amazing, if we read this chapter, we know the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita practically, because everything is here. So in this particular verse, text 11, what is that we are discussing? Who are the main characters here? It's right there. Srivas Thakur, right? So Srivas Thakur is none other than who? Narada Muni. Yes, Narada Muni. Srivas Thakur is none other than Narada Muni, the spiritual master of Srila Vyasadeva, an empowered incarnation of Krishna. But he's Jiva Tattva. No, he's like us, if we can put it that way. Sometimes Narada Muni, it's called Bhagavan in the passing, like that, a couple of times. Bhagavan. Because he's so powerful, Prabhupada explains in the purpose, that all the power of the Lord is invested in him. And you know what's the Shakti that Narada Muni has? Anybody remembers? There's a particular Shakti. Like Lord Brahma has the Shakti of constructing, building, creating, right? And Narada Muni has a very particular Shakti. Can travel? Okay, that's a nice one for ISKCON devotees. Yeah, you can just free travel, right? Interplanetary travel. But yeah, more than that, because there are other people also can travel a lot. Anyone else? Bhakti. He has Bhakti Shakti. He can give you Bhakti like that. So, Srila Prabhupada explains, I was hearing this morning a class on Chaitanya Charitamrita from Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada says something that Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained in his Kudruma Kalpatavi book. He says that everything in this movement, you know, like when you have a product, right? Like you have Apple, right? And you have the Apple thing, everything is Apple, right? I used to be an Apple person until I went to Mayapur, and then the batteries blew and the computer is all messed up because of the humidity. So everything is Apple. Everything is Apple. It's special, right? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that in this movement, everything has a brand. Everything has like stamp, right? Just to confirm that this is Lord Chaitanya's movement. And that brand, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, it's the name Gauranga, right? The name Gauranga. And the name Gauranga explains the Acharyas. Srila Prabhupada also mentions in his lectures. The name Gauranga means Panchatattva. Right? Like in Mayapur you go and you see Panchatattva, or when we sing Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavan. That's a Panchatattva mantra. There are a few Panchatattvas mantras. Panchatattvamakam Krishna, etc. There are a few mantras, Panchatattva mantras, but this is the main mantra. And Prabhupada explained in the research that I did once, because my Guru Maharaj asked me, I found 27 times that Srila Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that we should chant Hare Krishna mantra preceded by Panchatattva mantra. Okay, that's why we chant the mantra sometimes before a japa. I know there's some arguments. Oh, Prabhupada, in the recording, Prabhupada is not chanting, etc., etc. But anyway. So, Gauranga means Panchatattva. Gauranga means that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, but he doesn't come alone. He comes with his brother, with Lord Nityananda. He comes with Radharani included. Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna combined. He comes with his Bhaktavatara. Who's Bhaktavatara? Mahavishnu. Advaitacharya is Mahavishnu. It's actually a combined incarnation of Mahavishnu and who? And Lord Shiva. By the way, that reminded me, today is Shivaratri. I don't know if it's here, Shivaratri as well, or in Mayapur. It's here. So Shivaratri is a special day. In Mayapur, we have a Shiva Lingam in Lord Jagannath's temple in Rudradvip, correct? No, that's Simantadvip. Simantadvip. But there's a big celebration today because Lord Shiva is considered the best Vaishnava. Vaishnavam Shambhu. Right. So he comes with his avatar incarnations, and then he comes with Radharani energy in the form of Gadadhar, and then he comes also expanded as Srivas Thakur, Narada Muni, Bhakti Shakti come. So in this case, Srivas Thakur, none other than Narada Muni, he is worshipping the Lord. He's doing Abhishek. Now let's understand a little bit the context of this pastime. You see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is what's called Chanavatar, or Guptavatar, which means hidden. Nobody knows. Nobody's meant to know that he's the Supreme. But sometimes, just like in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, you know the pastime, there was Duryodhana and there was Arjuna. And they had the option to go and take or request Krishna to be on their side or to have Krishna's armies. Right? So, Duryodhana happened to be, I forgot exactly the details, I have heard several versions, but Duryodhana had the first choice. So what was Duryodhana's, is that correct? Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Is that correct? All right. So what was Duryodhana's choice? What did he choose? Who did he choose? The army, right? Because it's more, right? And so many warriors there. And Arjuna, he chose Krishna. Okay? So he chose Krishna, and but then Krishna says, okay, I can be on your side, but I cannot fight, because it would be unfair. Right? So the deal is, Krishna is on the Pandava side, on Arjuna's side, and I cannot fight. So what can you do? Well, I can ride your chariot. That'll be fun. Right? But what happened is that throughout the war in Kurukshetra, a few times Krishna broke his promise. Right? And the time when he broke his promise is when Arjuna was about to be killed by grandfather Bhishma. And Bhishmadev, he fought so hard because these warriors, they will die if they wouldn't fulfill their promise. So he just fighting so hard, right, that at some point, even Krishna was apparently hurt. And then he broke the chariot's wheel, and then they fell. And then how the pastime goes? And then the chadar of Krishna, the uttarya, the upper cloth of Krishna fell. You can see the drawings. Prabhupada liked that painting very much. Sometimes he will just observe for a long, long time. Then he will explain things, Whenever the devotees produce these paintings, they'll bring it to Prabhupada. Sometimes he will correct them. Those ones, they brought a painting, and the painting show, and I think I have seen it used in the Bhat, a bit naughty from the BBT devotees. And the painting shows Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma, right? I mean, Lord Vishnu here in the navel, and then it's Lord Brahma. And the painting shows a view from above. Have you seen that one? Prabhupada didn't like it. He says, who does this artist think he is that is above Lord Vishnu? Imagine the detail. I mean, it's, a far out concept. You have a drone and you have a bird's eye view and things like that. Prabhupada didn't like it. So like that, they will bring the images, the paintings to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, sometimes he will just immerse himself in ecstasy. And he will just stay there for a long, long time. I can tell, but the devotees express that Prabhupada would just go inside himself and just stay there watching. In the beginning, devotees would be worried because sometimes Prabhupada will analyze things, and he didn't like it, and he will correct things. There was another instance. They brought a painting of Arjuna with mustache and kind of darker skin or something like that. And then Prabhupada says, "Who painted Arjuna? He looks like a Sudra. Looks like a rickshaw wall or something." Prabhupada was so sharp, I was very, very particular about these things. So when Prabhupada was shown this picture of painting of Bhishmadev, you can see him, there, warrior-like, and then Krishna running without his upper cloth, chadra, and then he runs and gets the chariot wheel, right? And he's about to throw it, right, to Bhishmadev. Because why? Because his devotee Arjuna was at risk. Bhishma could have killed him. So he was like, "Okay, that's it. I'm breaking my promise here," right? Just to show that Krishna sometimes, how do you call that? Get off character, right? In the drama, there's a particular script, and the actors, they have to play a certain role. So sometimes Krishna, because of the love of his devotees, then he will just, we say in Spanish, what do you call that when you put the fake hair, the wig? Yeah, the toupee, yeah. The wig, the toupee just moves. Yeah, it slides, So you can tell, oh, it's a fake mustache, or it's a fake beard or something like that. So sometimes Krishna comes out of character. So this pastime is not meant to happen, right? It's not according to script in a way, because no one's meant to know that Lord Chaitanya is Bhagavan. And whenever someone will say, "Looks like you're Narayan," or something like that, especially in Navadvip, when he manifested sometimes some effulgence or something special. And what he will do, like in India they do, they hold their ears like that, they cover an ear, and he will run to the Ganga and throw himself there, like, Vishnu, 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 Narayan. He didn't want to hear that, because he came to play a certain role. Chan avatar, Gupta avatar, hidden Lord. So Srivas and others sometimes couldn't help it. This is just too much. So here it is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepting Srivas Thakur's worship. Abhishek, imagine, how much more evident that will be. Bringing milk and honey and yogurt and, rose water. How much more evident. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, Like that. There are many pastimes about this. And Krishna here, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he manifests. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, it's called Universal Form. And in that chapter, how many forms of Krishna we find? How many? 3. Good. So the universal form is there, right? And then Arjuna said, "Okay, enough. I'm getting a little nervous here. Can I see you as the Lord of the universe?" And then he shows the 4-handed form, Chaturbhuj, right? But then he says, "I want to see now your sweet form." And then Krishna takes his original form, like Syamasundar playing the flute, 2-handed form, Dvibhuj. In these pastimes, in this section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna manifests, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifests a number of arms, Sadbhuj, Chaturbhuj, Dvibhuj, like that. He is like going full on, right? He just couldn't help it anymore because he so much bhakti. from his devotees. So that's the way that Krishna showed us. He showed us how bhakti is so powerful. In Bhagavad Gita, the topmost, the most confidential knowledge presented in amongst all the 18 chapters, it's chapter 9, right? And in chapter 9, Krishna briefly but very sweetly, he talks about bhakti. Not only bhakti, but pure bhakti. And basically what Krishna is telling Arjuna and telling us through Arjuna, that if you have bhakti, if you have pure bhakti, you have me. That's what he's telling. So if somebody has pure bhakti, has Krishna. Right? And then Krishna likes to serve those devotees and likes to please the devotees. Let's read again the last sentence of this purport. All the devotees, according to their means, worship the Lord with all kinds of paraphernalia. And the Lord gave benedictions to each devotee according to his desire. Okay? So whenever you do something for Krishna, Krishna likes to reciprocate. That's a normal person's behavior, isn't it? If somebody comes and smiles at you or gives you something, you feel grateful. All right? So Krishna is a person. So if you do something, he will do something for us, right? So the question here is, from this purport, what is our desire? What is that we are desiring? Anyone would like to volunteer? What is your desire? You are chanting, you are doing pujas, you are doing service, you are doing so many things. Why are you doing that? I'm not playing inspector here. I'm just want just want to, steer the nectar. Why? What are the Kana? To what? To become a pure devotee. All right, good. Anyone else? Sense of duty? Yes, sir. Anyone else, Prabhu? Nice. Confirmed. Lucas? Okay. Yeah, sometimes that out of disgust. So we serve Krishna because it's a different taste. Anyone else? Why do we do what we do? Krishna Prem, yes. Hopefully, yeah. To make Krishna happy. He's always smiling, he's always happy. See, there's no picture of Krishna sad. I think there's one picture, when he's had a headache or, that pastime, I think. And then they show Prabhupada, and Prabhupada didn't like so much. There's some pastime about that. But Krishna is always happy, always pleased. One time my Guru Maharaj, when I said to him that, about pleasing, my Guru Maharaj explained that it's not about pleasing him or not. It's about trying, he said. By trying, you are pleasing. That's it. Just like a kid that sometimes tries to say the name of the father or the mother, and because he's so little, he cannot speak properly, right? Or he tries to help, try to bring the tools or whatever, yeah? But it's very clumsy. So we're always committing mistakes, yeah? But what is the beauty of that effort is that the child tries to do it for pleasing, trying. I think I told this story once. We were in Thailand, and there was this group of people that we have been able to preach to, and my Guru Maharaj came, and he was giving the class, and one engineer from the Johnson & Johnson company said, Swami, we Oriental people, he was Chinese background. I mean, people in Thailand are Oriental looking, but he had a lot of Chinese. And we Oriental people, we cannot pronounce the word Krishna properly. We pronounce Krishna, right? Everything, the art, it's not pronounced properly. So, and my Guru Maharaj was presenting the point that we have to chant properly, we have to chant attentively, we have to listen to the name, because in Thailand, meditation, Buddhist meditation is the main thing. So he was just trying to, So then the question is, so what is it when we pronounce improperly? We cannot. Krishna, 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 right? And then he gave the example. He says, when the baby is learning how to walk, it's learning how to talk, it's lovely, right? Because of the desire, because of the intention, because of the love and the purity, the innocence of the child in trying to do something that, he or she knows that he's not able to. But however, he's trying, something like that. So these pastimes are to inspire us and to also reaffirm that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Bhagavan. And as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, they are early. Krishna says 4 things that we need to do. Think of him. What else? Become his devotee. What else? Yeah. Puja. Obeisance at the end. Do puja. Mat jajati. Mam namashkuru. And offer obeisance and respect me. 4 things. And it's quite interesting. In relationship amongst devotees, also applies the same. We have to be conscious of the other person, or in relationships in general. We have to commit to that relationship. We have to do something practical. No, I love you, but I never do anything for you. And we have to also respect. So here, the Lord is being worshipped, full worship, Abhishek. That means only Bhagavan gets that, or the representative sometimes, because he's the Supreme Person. Krishna is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. He is Krishna and Radharani together, and next to him is Lord Nityananda, who is none other than Balaram. So these pastimes are to inspire us that we need to worship the Lord properly with all our hearts, and Krishna will accept it. That's what Prabhupada explains. With all, according to their means, whatever we can do, that's what we give. And Krishna gives benedictions, so you have to wait for your benedictions according to the desires that you have. So whatever desires we cultivate, at some point, Krishna will fulfill those desires. Have you had that realization? You want something, and then something happens, and then you end up, where you want it to be. I mean, in terms of devotional service. Have you had that realization? Sometimes Krishna takes his time. That's one thing, right? You think, oh, this Krishna, I'm asking this. But then somehow, at some point, the last minute, then things manifest. And there he is. And you get the opportunity to do a particular service. And that's why Srila Prabhupada established this process of deity worship, because Krishna is not different than his deity. And these deities have been duly installed, and there is so much bhakti around them, and the vibration and the mantras and everything is attempted to do in the best possible way to please Prabhupada and the acharyas. And therefore, the deities are very much present, very much present. And if we want to ask them for something, of course, ideally spiritual, devotional, then you come in front of the deities, and whoever is your set of favorite deities, or whoever is your particular Ishtadeva, you ask them, and then wait and see what happens. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, or Premanand.